Hey guys. So before I forget, this is the November 2024 live stream. Um, Sorry I'm a little bit late, but we had a technical issue. Once again, YouTube changed something without telling me. So when I tried to go live, it wouldn't let me go live because it said it was in the wrong orientation. So got that sorted out. But yeah, if you guys hear anything in the background, there is a sports facility across the street and they've got their loudspeaker on. So every once in a while I hear like the echo of that, and that's what that is. So let's see, I already see some comments coming in, so before I get ahead of myself, I'll get to those. We Who Are About to Die salute you says, this was an odd month, thanks for doing this. Watch the last few minutes of the last monthly live stream. Who is the other person waiting? I'm actually not sure. It could be me, but I'm not sure. And the reason I say that is I've got my computer over here with the live stream up, so it may just consider me as the other person waiting. Not sure. So yeah, as far as the last stream, I might as well go over that before everybody hops on and I get sidetracked. Also, you guys have probably never seen my hair like this. It's getting super long, and so sometimes I just keep it like this instead of putting it up. But this is what it looks like naturally. It's actually curly if I let it get long enough. It's kind of ridiculous, especially the sideburns, but we're on Thanksgiving break right now. Over Christmas break, I'm going home and I'll get my hair cut. And try to keep it up from there. But, you know, with everything that's happened the last year especially, it's just kind of been getting myself situated here and getting financially stable. So I'm a little better off now, so I'll be able to start keeping up the haircut. Anyway, yeah, so the wrap up from the last live stream, I set goals. I set 2 goals, and that was essentially I wanted to get my old bed slats fixed, and I wanted to set up and actually be sleeping in a bed here. And so just to tell you my progress on that, I was able to fix the bed slats. Basically, they're from an old IKEA bed, and I was gonna reuse them on a new IKEA bed. There's been some stuff going on here, the reason I didn't just buy a bed, but I needed to get them fixed anyway. So I bought a staple gun and some staples. I took the thing apart, re-stapled the whole thing, so it's good now. I'll be able to reuse it when I do get a bed. I also stacked it, so it's not just like a bundle of big sticks. So it's nice that I can stack them and kind of get them out of the way. The only thing is I need to find something to bind it with, because I want to set it up on its end and stick it behind the door to the bedroom, and that way like nobody can even see it. But so far I haven't found that. When they ship them out, they're strapped together in like plastic straps, but I obviously don't have those, so I'll have to figure something out. And I might just end up taking them home over Christmas break anyway and putting them in the storage unit. I brought them out here because I was planning on buying that bed. So the other half of the goals is that I am sleeping in a bed. It did take me until last night. And last night I slept in a bed for the first time in almost 4 years. There's a couple of exceptions to that, of like times that I stayed in hotel rooms. Very few exceptions, but in my own apartment, I haven't slept in a bed since December of 2020. So I think as of last stream, I had finally just taken one of the prison mattresses that we ordered at the beginning of the semester, and I was sleeping on that on the floor. Well, over the last month, because we set that goal last live stream to actually get me sleeping in a bed. I did get all the pieces assembled from around the house, which is a much bigger ordeal than it sounds like. Actually, now that I say that, I'm still missing one piece. I gotta go get it out of the basement, but I did dig it out of the closet yesterday. But basically, I have these wooden ends on each end, and then there's like this metal thing with springs that connects the two of them, and then there's the mattress that sits on top. So I now have 4 ends, one metal spring thing, which the other one's in the basement, I gotta go get, and 2 prison mattresses. And the way this works is, right now I'm sleeping on a twin extra long, but if you stack 2 of those together, like just side by side, it actually is the exact same size as a king size. So eventually the plan is to have them right side by side, get a mattress topper that goes over and like kind of links them together. So it'll just be like one mattress topper, one fitted sheet that goes over both of those. And I'll have a king size bed. It's kind of overkill. Full is really my preferred size, but I mean, I have the option of either twin extra long or a king, and well, I guess I'll go with king. So there's a few things I still need to assemble here. So I guess I can say I didn't really meet that goal from the last live stream, but I mean, I mostly did. I made more than half of the progress toward it. And I am at least sleeping in a bed, which I think is what most of you guys were shooting for me. So there's that. So let me do this, because I'm starting to get behind on comments. So before I get any further into my stuff, Left Shark is here. Awesome. Thank you, Case. You really didn't miss anything. I was just explaining YouTube changed something again, and I didn't know, of course, until I started streaming. But we got that sorted out, so I'm streaming in the right orientation. And my hair is like this because it got super long and I just don't feel like dealing with it. So, I mean, I did take a shower. It's clean. It's just, this is what it looks like if I don't do anything to it. So let's see. Oh yeah. And your question, new hair. So my hair has gotten super long, and basically I got it cut in July, and then I moved out here right after. Partly is just because I haven't done the research to find a place to get my hair cut here, partly to save money. But I'm just planning on getting my hair cut over winter break when I run home. I'm just gonna text my haircut dude and, you know, basically, get that done. It'll go back to the same like, you know, you preppy kind of thing that it normally is. I think it's technically called it's a low fade or a high fade. I can't remember which. With a hard part. That's it. Because well, I mean, it's grown out now, but when I have that part in my hair, that's actually shaved in. It makes it super easy to part my hair when I'm doing it, because it just automatically goes in place. So, and then I just have this issue when my hair grows out, my sideburns get longer. No matter how many times I shave and I cut this to be exact, thinking that it's like exactly where it's supposed to be, somehow it just drifts down up until I get my hair cut. But by the time I get my hair cut at the very end of December or beginning of January, it will be just as long as it was in July, which was ridiculous and so hard to deal with. But yeah, I'm basically gonna get it cut over winter break. And then now that I'm a little more familiar with the school schedules and I'm a little more financially stable, I'm probably also gonna go home over spring break so I can just get it cut then. Still, I mean, I should get it cut every month, but you know, going like a couple months would be fine. And then a couple months after that would be when the semester ends. And then I go home for my summer visit and I can get it cut then. So pretty much got that worked out, I think. Greg says, happy to hear about the bed. I finally found full-time work and my credit scores are going way up. TransUnion 697 and Equifax 711. I was down in the low 400s before. That's good, man. Congrats on the job. I'll tell you, I haven't been actively looking because like I obviously do have income coming in from the fraternity, and then I do YouTube, but like, come on, I don't really make much money on here. I think with YouTube, I think they cut ad rates again, but like, it took me like 4 months to hit the AdSense threshold, so I did get paid out this month, and I'm gonna put that toward bills, but it was like $119, and I think it took me 4 months to make that much. So I don't know how much I can really attribute that to me making money. And then it's been super slow, but here and there where I can, I make some extra money from furniture assembly. But yeah, I've been applying for jobs, like just looking and Indeed and some other places. I've been applying, and usually, like in previous years, I would at least get a few phone calls to do like phone screens. I literally don't get anything. I've applied for hundreds of jobs, everything from like actual full-time jobs to like just part-time things, even with the university where I already work, and I just get outright rejected for everything. So things are definitely worse than they've ever been with jobs. That's like a huge increase in your credit score though. Somehow, with as bad as my stuff has been, I've never been down in the 400s, I think. If I was, it was like 490s, but I don't think I ever have been. Currently, I'm right, but it depends on what credit bureau you look at. It's like, one of them I think is like 597, the other one's like 600. Keep in mind, 3 years ago I was at 700 before, you know, all this divorce stuff happened. So it's gonna take me a while to get back there. But yeah, how long did that take you? Because that's like a huge increase. Sandra says, hi everyone, and huzzah to the great news about the new bed. Yeah, so I will say the bed thing, and I know I've said this in previous streams, I don't want to be negative about the bed. I know, like, objectively, it is better for me to be sleeping in a bed than it is to be sleeping on the floor or sleeping in the back of my car. But for me, having a bed or not having a bed is not a big deal. And I don't really see any noticeable change. Either, well, yeah, I don't really see any noticeable change. I more see it as like a quality of life issue. And I know that I should be sleeping in a bed rather than the floor, and that's why, you know, I made this a focus and made that happen. Now like I say, it's a prison bed, prison mattress. I'm almost certain we use the same suppliers as actual prisons. Like, it's called University Loft Co., but I mean, I've seen prison cells on TV that they look the same. So they're not like exceptionally comfortable, but again, it's less so that I actually benefit from this in any way, and more so just a step in actually sort of having my shit together. Case says, I manage a hotel here in Canada. We have so many mattresses in storage. I don't know what the hell happened here over the summer, but somebody broke into the house, and I mean, that's not that surprising. Like, people had their TVs stolen and stuff like that, but they also stole a bunch of beds. like the actual beds, like the wooden frames and the mattresses. And so at the beginning of the year, we had to order a bunch of beds and mattresses because we just didn't have any. And so there were some extras, and yeah, they had them stashed in closets around the house. And that was what I took. I hadn't originally ordered them for myself, but nobody was using them. And I was so in the mindset that I was going to order that IKEA bed and use those slats. But then I didn't because our our landlord is nuts. It's a long story, but I don't want to buy a whole. See, I really like wanted to get settled in here, but I don't want to buy a whole bunch of stuff and like make this, my place and make it cozy and get all moved in and get a bunch of stuff and then not be here next year. And I don't know if that's going to be the case, but it's not settled yet whether we're going to be in this house next year. And until that's settled, I don't want to get a bunch of stuff and then be stuck with either trying to sell it or moving it or whatever. We were about to die salute you says, I do not think Mark is on yet. Oh, I had to refresh. Yeah, I had some kind of issue at the beginning of the stream. And the hair. I'm glad you think it looks fratty. It just kind of, yeah. I mean, I kind of would agree, but it just happens to be that way. Like this is just because it's long, but the way that I normally have it, that was fratty when I was in college. But yeah, most of the guys have like the broccoli hair. Well, everybody I live with is Gen Z, so that's pretty normal for them. Case says you can learn hairstyling. Is there TaskRabbit on hairstyling cutting? Well, that's not a category on there that I know of. TaskRabbit, I don't know what is going on with them lately, but it's just been absolutely dead. Like, I've literally only had one task with TaskRabbit since I got here. It was September 30th. I drove to Indianapolis. I had a big job where there was like 4 furniture items. It was like a full day of work. And then absolutely nothing. My same day availability is on almost every day. And there's just nothing. There is like nothing. I'm not even getting, it's not even like I'm getting requests. I'm using Thumbtack. I'm about to shut that off because I don't get leads very often, and when I do, I just waste money on them because it's just ridiculous stuff that I can't even do. I'm not getting anything through Yelp. I'm having an issue with my Google business profile right now, so I'm not getting anything there. No website traffic. It is just dead for furniture assembly. And that's not normal. So it's partly TaskRabbit because I'm not getting anything through there. But if I was gonna get leads, it would probably be through there most likely. I'm not getting anything. So that's been tough. And no, I can't even cut my own hair. There's no way I can cut other people's hair. The only thing I could do would be, I mean, if it was like if they just wanted their head shaved with like trimmers, just completely all around shaved, I could probably do that. But I just can't do that. There's certain things that I know I'm just not capable of learning, and that's one of them. So that, yeah, I'm just gonna go to somebody that knows what they're doing. Case says, I used to have a YouTube channel 7 years ago, made $10, but I couldn't withdraw them because YouTube only allows withdrawal if it is more than 100. Yeah, it's still the same way. The thing is, so yeah, there's that $100 threshold for AdSense. They've definitely cut. I don't know if they're taking. I don't know if advertisers are paying less or if YouTube's taking a bigger cut or what, but I've definitely noticed that I don't get paid as much as I used to, and really this fall is where it's been most obvious because um, really from like September through December, used to make really pretty good money, the best money of the year, um, because that's when all the advertisers are putting their Christmas ads out and everything, and it's like I'm making less than $1 a day off of AdSense. I mean, actually, quite a bit less than that because I want to say I made like $11 last month or something crazy like that. I used to make 50 to 75 every month on AdSense. Um, so yeah, I don't know what's going on. I'm just gonna keep growing the channel though. Max says there was a big IU football game yesterday. Did you watch it? No. Well, I actually slept through most of it, if I'm being honest. So I live practically next door to the stadium, but it was an away game. It was at OSU, and I don't. Well, I mean, for one, I don't. I was gonna say I don't have a TV. That's not true. I have a TV. It's just not connected to anything. Um, and I don't have cable up. Well, you know what? Maybe I do have cable. There's like coax. I should try that one day. There's a coax cable coming out of the wall. They might include cable and rent here. I know like 30 years ago that was included because people just assumed places would have cable. I don't know if that's still a thing or not. I've never heard any of the guys talking about it, but I guess that doesn't really mean anything. I don't know. Wait, I missed something. Oh, so I did not watch the IU game. I think that's the second game that they've lost this year. They were undefeated. Like, IU's not good at football. So it was a huge surprise to everybody that they had that like long stream of wins. But I think they've lost twice now this season. Doesn't mean anything really to me other than I watch when the games are just so I don't get trapped in the house. Because like I said, I live almost right next door to the stadium. So the traffic's really bad on game days. Case says, I remember we housed a homeless lady, and she put all her stuff on the 2 beds that are provided, and she slept in the bathtub instead. I guess she's used to hard surfaces to sleep on. Get air mattress, deflate it when you leave, not as comfortable. I've had air mattresses for a while, especially when I was living in Athens, and they don't last for any time. Like, they're made for just occasional use, but when you use them to sleep on every night, they will get a hole like very quickly. And then I've never got like with the patch kits or doing anything to them, I've never got one to like not have holes and actually hold air again once it gets a hole. But yeah, I think I got used to just laying on the floor or not the back seat, but like the back seat's folded front and it's just like a flat surface in the car. I've been used to sleeping on that for so long. So I don't know, mattress does kind of feel weird. Greg's, wait. Greg says, oh yeah, I must have missed this. Greg says, my credit score increased after about a year. I had 950 in debt on an old credit card that was sent to collections. I paid off the debt in September and that helped a lot. Yeah, I have, I mentioned this on an earlier stream, but one of my credit cards charged off. I made a payment agreement with the other one with the same company, and I'm on my 8th payment with that, but they wouldn't wait another month. I could have started paying if they would have waited another month. They wouldn't wait another month, so they charged off the credit card, but I'm on a payment plan with them still. I don't get charged interest, and it's weird because they reported it. They didn't report it on my credit as a charge-off. Well, they did, but not. They're still reporting it as if it's a revolving account, and the comments say charge-off. But it's not listed under collections as a charge-off. And then there's a note on there basically saying what the charged-off amount was and then what the current balance is. So it kind of shows that, I mean, if somebody's really reviewing this, they would see, okay, well, it was charged off, but it's less than the original charge-off amount, so he's making payments on it, which I am. I'm paying almost $300 a month to get that paid off. I think it's $281 a month that comes out on the 1st. So I'm working on that, and let's see. And then I have my new Discover card that I opened in September. I haven't actually used it for anything, but that added some more available credit. And then I'm on that payment plan for my small Capital One card. It's got some available credit on it now. I don't remember how many more payments I have to make. I know on the 28th, I have to make a $37 payment. And that's the 8th payment of the payment plan, but I don't remember how many more payments are left after that. But it's already where it's paid down under the credit limit, and it has some available credit on it now. It's really annoying. I don't know if you guys can hear that announcer. It's from the stadium. Let's see. We Were About to Die Salute You says, where is home? I think you're talking to me. Okay, so I guess when I said I'm going home for break, I mean the general area. So home, I guess, is anywhere between Athens, Ohio, Marietta, Ohio, Parkersburg, West Virginia, but it also like kind of includes Columbus because that's where my haircut dude is and my eye doctor, which I'm gonna try to go to over break to get an eye exam, and my dentist. So I could be referring to either of those two areas or both. I'm actually gonna try to hit both areas. But I'm also gonna try to do it as quickly as possible. I've got several things I have to schedule over break, and I'm just trying to logistically make this work where I can hopefully only be gone for about 3 days, like including driving time. But yeah, we'll see about that. Max says, do you have a pooped in pants story? I don't think I do. I mean, I'm sure like when I was little, I probably did that, but I don't ever remember like in a time where I was like old enough to remember things that I ever did that. When I was in second grade? No, 3rd grade. I saw a girl pee herself in class because the teacher wouldn't let her go to the bathroom. and she walked to the front of the class, and the teacher's up there, and she's like begging the teacher, and the teacher just like wouldn't let her go. And then yeah, so like we all saw it, and it wasn't just like her pants, like it was, going out on the floor. Like I I've seen that. I'm sure, like, yeah, I mean, like, I wore diapers when I was a baby. I'm sure I did, but not that I remember. Um, we were about to die. Salute you says, no job is as good as the fraternity job. Free food, shelter, and doing what you want with free time. Yeah, I mean, there are drawbacks too, but for the most part, it's not that bad. It's just there's uncertainty about next year. I don't know yet about contract renewal. I actually don't know yet about lease renewal. So I need to make sure that we re-sign the lease for the house. That's something that I'm not totally in the loop on, because it's like my bosses are doing that. And then after we make sure that that gets signed, then I have to make sure that they're going to renew my contract. Because I'm kind of at this like weird juncture, right? Okay, so without like going over all the details of this, basically I'm the highest paid in the company, because they pay based on the chapter size. I'm at the largest chapter in the fraternity and the largest fraternity house that we manage. So the more work you have to do, the more they pay you. So I guess that makes sense. But because of that, that's why I make the $2,500 a month. And if you guys remember, when I was at NC State, I made $800 a month. When I was at WVU, made $1,000 a month. And the other job that they offered me was going back to NC State, and it would have been $1,400 a month. So they are like kind of gradually increasing payments, but like it's still not that much. And the thing is, I could probably maybe get by on $1,400 a month, but it would be iffy and it would be really tight. The thing is, I filed my taxes, so now I have to set up a payment plan with the IRS for my self-employment taxes I owe like $2,300. I'm trying to pay off these past debts with the credit cards, and I'm up to the full payment on my student loans, where I was at a reduced payment before. So even on the 2,500, things are going to be especially tight next semester. So I'm really thinking, see, this is where I'm saying like I'm in a weird place, because they told me, my boss told me, even if something happens and we don't have this place, I mean, the chapter will still exist, but like if we would happen to lose the house for next year, that I don't need to worry, because they have a place for me. They would send me to another place in the company. But the problem is that it's going to pay less than here. And with as much debt as I'm trying to pay off, I don't really think I can afford that. I don't think I could go down to like $1,500 a month. So that's something I'm worried about. And I kind of have to see, I mean, best case scenario is the landlord re-signs our lease and the company re-signs their contract with me. And then I'm just here next year. I've already got the budget for next year. I don't get a raise. It's still $2,500, but that's best case scenario. So basically I'm put in this place where I have to decide, okay, still, best case scenario hopefully happens, but if not, I have to make a choice of, one, do I stay with my current company, which is my fraternity, and severely reduce my income? And I mean, yes, I could take a job in addition to it. You guys see, I'm trying to do that, and I'm not like getting anywhere. So I'm not counting on that being able to happen. The second thing, the second option is that I could go work for another fraternity doing the same thing. But there are downsides to that too. The main downside being that like almost everybody else doing this is doing it full time, where I'm like supposed to be like max 20 hours a week. Now I do have 70 hours a week that I'm on call, but I'm salaried. So I'm supposed to work up to 20 hours a week maximum. I actually work that plus 70 hours on call. I have to be at the house from 10 p.m. to 8 a.m. 7 days a week. So it's just kind of complicated. But anyway, if I would go to another place, I mean, I could take the experience that I have here, get hired on at another house, whether at IU or another university. There's a lot of openings for this type of position. And I could make a lot more. Like, I make $25,000 a year. It would not be unheard of for me to be able to make 50 if I go to another house. But again, I'm going to be full time. I'm going to have more responsibility, most likely too. Depends on the house. Every fraternity is different, but sometimes I have to plan social events, which I really don't want to do. Or sometimes you have to make and manage the budget. I don't do that right now. So it just depends on the house. You like all the different universities have different rules. Sometimes you work for a property management company or an individual or a house corporation. And those all have different rules. And all of this just determines your pay and how much you make. Some of these places even give you like a free cell phone, or they just straight up pay your cell phone bill. I don't get that right now, even though I use my personal phone for work. So there's a lot to consider. And I'm trying to weigh all this right now, but I haven't taken any steps in any direction. I'm just sort of hoping right now that we just get re-signed and I just get to stay here. But yeah, that's kind of where that is. I'm going to get back to everybody's comment. Before I get any further, I'm going to just do drink of the day. I got my favorite cup here again, my REI Subaru collab. And we're just doing the regular Diet Pepsi. So I've been pretty good about not eating out and just getting everything from the grocery store. So I just got these 2 liters. And see if I can not get this all over me. Oh, and if I forget, somebody remind me before the end of the stream to talk about my shirt. I'll tell you guys what I'm doing. This is a new shirt, so I'll tell you guys what's going on with that. All right. Okay, so I guess what I was saying, we who are about to die, salute you. I'm saying, yeah, the fraternity thing's a pretty good gig, but I've got some difficult decisions to make about it coming up pretty soon. And I don't know, should I go in the direction of taking the risk and going full time, where I'm still struggling a lot with like mental health and I'm not sure I really should be working or can handle working full time without the flexible schedule to make double the money? Or should I keep the relaxed kind of thing, stay with my brothers, possibly move locations, but make like $1,000 less? I don't know. Max says, how much was the most you made in a year for YouTube? I honestly don't know, because that's tough to answer. When I was talking about money before, I was just talking about AdSense, and that would be the revenue from YouTube that is from ads on videos. Also, anytime anybody sends a super chat, or a super like, or a super sticker, I don't have channel memberships on here, but if I did, that money would go toward it as well. And there's a few other ways that can contribute to that, but most of it is ads. I want to say, this is just a guess. I want to say maybe like 700-800, something like that. It's never been like a ton. And that would include things like when people send PayPal donations or Patreon. I do still have Patreon. Thank you to my 3 subscribers over there, because everybody sends me $1 a month. That keeps my business bank account open, because otherwise I'm not really spending the money from there. And if there wasn't anything coming in, it would get shut down. But yeah, so there's Patreon, PayPal donations. I can't think of it right now. There's something else, but it's all like money that comes from having the YouTube channel. And that would be my guess, is like including all of those things around $700 or $800. It's really not all that much. Case says YouTube need content creators back then. If you have 100,000 sub, you would have a full-time or at least part-time job. Adpocalypse happened. Yep, that was 2017. YouTube is taking more profit because they don't need us. Yeah, I got demonetized because I was like 4 subs short of the threshold when that went into effect. And then it took them so many months to finally review my channel and remonetize me. I lost out like so much money because my channel was really taking off. Like if you look at my stats back in 2017, like my channel really was growing exponentially. Like I was getting 100 or more subscribers a month. My views were going crazy, and then the adpocalypse happened right in the middle of that, and it killed all of it. So not only did I lose the money, but I lost what was probably going to be what built my channel into like a sizable channel. We Who Are About to Die Salute You was asking Max if I would root for Indiana or Ohio State. Really neither, just because I don't care enough. Like, I keep getting invited by other house directors to tailgate. They have a dedicated tailgate spot at the stadium. I'm just like, you know what? No, I'm going to stay home and I'm going to work on my taxes. Like, there's none of the house directors that I like particularly like. I mean, they're mostly tolerable, but you know, it's not like I'm trying to make friends with them. Most of them are like way older than me anyway. And so I don't go out to the tailgates. I don't really have any affinity for IU like itself or like for sports. I'm just here because I work here. Ohio State, I actually hate. You wouldn't understand unless you're from Ohio. Because it's basically like if you're an Ohio State fan, then that's what you are. But if you're not, then you hate them, mostly because of the fans. But it's like a long drawn out story. I'm not gonna get into on here, but if you're from Ohio, you already understand. You're either an Ohio State fan or like you very much hate them. The school's like okay, you know. When I lived in Columbus, like sometimes I go use the library. Like the school itself is okay, and in fact, that's where I'm gonna be going over break. I go to OSU optometry for my eye exams, but as a sports team, no. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. All right, Jared Bear Fuller. I just watched your video about not having kids. I'm in the same boat. 38 years old, don't have kids, never been married, currently single. Yep, basically same. I'm 39, don't have kids, never was married, almost. I was engaged. Um, and yeah, currently single. Um, Currently very single. I live in a college town, and it's hard to well, it's hard to meet anybody here that's like an appropriate age. Um, sure, I could meet like a college age girl, but they're probably not interested in me. And like I've said on here before, if they were, I'd kind of question why, what's wrong with them. But yeah, I live an hour from what I consider a major city. I mean, Indianapolis. It's like major city sized, but like very backward and redneck. Um, so that would be my best option, would be to import someone from there. But just seeing what my options are around here, I'm just not really participating in dating. Um, I don't want to say I'm not looking, because I am, but at the same time, I look at the options and I'm like, no, I'm okay. I'll I'll wait until I find somebody I actually like. But let's just say I've sifted through a lot and not found that. So yeah, that's gonna be something that has to wait. Let me see here. We were about to die. Salute you says, I wonder why YouTube withholds $100. It must be making a ton of interest off it. Yeah, they might be. I mean, I don't know what their motivation is, but I mean, that makes sense that they could be doing that. Case says, same. No kids, single. Used to have a girlfriend, not married. All right, Case, if this is too personal a question, tell me that. You don't have to answer. You're a girl, right? I think. I know you're one of my mods. I should know this, but I always thought you were. You said you used to have a girlfriend. Um, but if you're gay, that's cool. But I feel like I'll value your opinion a lot when I do make those videos that you ask me about, the ones about the relationship, because I think I've. Are you serious? Oh, I just see that you're a dude. Okay, that makes sense. I don't know why I thought you were a girl, and I don't. Didn't you used to work at like a battered women's shelter or something? Or I know you said you deal with like homeless women. But I was gonna say, if you were a gay woman, I would really value your interpretation of those videos I'm about to make. Well, I say about to make, like when it gets there and I actually get to make them. But because I think you guys know this. I don't think this is any big revelation, but my ex was gay, or well, sometimes was. That's a whole thing I'm gonna have to explain in the videos, but like yeah. So I was dating a gay woman, which somehow worked out with us, but um. Okay, let me try to get back to these comments in order. Um, all right, Bear Fuller says, "Oh, at Case, being single has its moments, but most of the time it's such a relaxed lifestyle." Um, I mean, I think the trick is that when you do find someone, that you just find somebody that's not complicating your life. I think that would be great. Somebody that adds on to it rather than like creates problems or takes things away. Kay says, yep, especially when you are somewhat financially stable, enough to Uber Eats, enough to pay rent, enough to invest money, and money to play video games, and I am all good. By the way, Bitcoin is near 100,000 right now. Imagine if you bought 100 Bitcoins when they were like a dime each. Investment of $10 back then and $10 million today. All right, that's like a lot of comments, so let me get back to those in order. I would not say that I'm financially stable. I mean, I'm a hell of a lot better than I was a year ago, but I've also got still 2 years of taxes I got to file, a third year of taxes that I now owe money on that I got to pay. I'm paying off credit card debt. I'm paying off student loan debt. So I don't know if you were talking about me or you. I will use Uber Eats, and I spent a ridiculous amount of money on it this month, but not to be wasteful. It was because I was having problems with the car, and I was ordering my groceries that way. So I was paying literally like triple how much the groceries should have cost. I'm not happy about that. I literally wasted so much money this month. I ordered out a few times. I was doing this deal. There's a deal on Uber Eats right now where if you order $10 worth of food at Domino's, you get a free medium pizza. So I did that several times. What I was doing is I'd either order the boneless wings, which are like $10.99, or I'd order, I think it's the pasta, or, well, you can do this with the lava cakes too. You can order them because they're right under $10, and then order a couple of sauces to make up the difference, and then that gets you the pizza for free. And then that way I would put one of them, I'd usually eat the pizza right away, and then I'd put the other thing in the fridge and have that the next day. So I was at least getting 2 meals out of it. But I've got the car mostly fixed, I think. If I remember, I'll talk about the car later. I actually just kind of don't trust it because I don't know how I fixed it, but it seems to be fixed. But just because I don't know what I did to fix it, I don't really know. I don't know if it's just going to randomly start doing it again. But yeah, your thing about Bitcoin. Oh, wait, hold on. I skipped over some stuff. Enough to pay rent, enough to invest money, and money to play video games. I never spend money on video games, ever. Like, ever, ever. So I'll play them, but I only do the free stuff. Yeah, the Bitcoin thing. So, funny story. So I have Bitcoin, but all of the crypto I have gotten for free. I've never put any money into it. I sometimes you'll get it as like a sign up bonus for like an investing app or something like that. I lost a lot of my Bitcoin when, what the hell is that one called? There's so many different ones. Something else that starts with a B. It was one of the ones that got shut down, and we ended up getting like half of the money paid back to us, but not the other half. Anyway, the money that I got paid back, I put on Coinbase and just put it in USDC because it's earning like 4.7%. But so it's basically cash, but it had originally been in Bitcoin, and now I also had Bitcoin in my SoFi account, which I'd also gotten for free, but it was like an extremely low amount. And then SoFi divested their crypto and sent it to blockchain. I think that's it. Blockchain.com. God, I get all this. I honestly don't know that much about crypto, and for some reason I can't remember the names of anything. But it's literally like the last I checked, I have 23 cents in Bitcoin. So that should tell you. Now, Coinbase did send me a thing, and if I haven't missed the deadline already, in fact, today might be the deadline. I'll look into it later. It just said make a trade of any kind, and you get $10 in Bitcoin for free. And I mean, I know that's nothing, but it's like, hey, $10 for free. So I might sell off my crypto dust, because I've got quite a few that I've gotten through the rewards, like the taking the tests through Bitcoin or through Coinbase, where it's just it like was worth $2 or $3 at the time, and now it's worth like a fraction of a cent. I might sell one of those off because that's a transaction, and then I should get the $10 free in Bitcoin. So, if I remember, and there's a good chance I won't, but if I remember tonight, I will try to do that. But yeah, I get what you're saying. It's just back when Bitcoin came out, I think about that. I think where I was in college. I wouldn't have, like, not only was it not something I had ever heard of, but I don't think I had the knowledge at the time. Like, even if anybody had told me about it, I would have been like, I would have been like, I wouldn't have been able to comprehend it, basically, is what I'm saying. Because, like, cryptocurrency is complicated, but as it's become bigger, it's become simplified and easier to deal with things like, so like for example, Coinbase being set up for basically everyone to be able to use it instead of people who are just like really knowledgeable about the stuff. So, okay, give me a second, guys. It is freezing in here. I'm gonna turn the heat on. So, same as last month, it's either going to be burning up or freezing in here. Jared Bear Fuller says, have a great day. Okay, I guess you're heading out then. Glad you could be here, though. Seems like you found me from that other video. Justin F. Self-employment tax sucks. Sorry to hear it. Yes, it does. And let me tell you guys a short little story about self-employment tax. Okay, so for those of you who aren't in America or aren't self-employed, in America we have self-employment tax. It's also called FICA tax. I forget what that stands for. But basically it's both your share as the employee and the employer's share, because you're both the employer and the employee, of the taxes that are owed. As my understanding, it's essentially payroll taxes. It goes to Social Security and Medicaid. I always get Medicaid and Medicare confused, but for that's your portion of it and the employer's portion. The thing here's where I screwed up, okay? I don't think I even said this, but you picked it up. That $2,300 that I owe for tax year 2023, which, by the way, I don't remember if I got this up in the last stream. I got my freaking taxes filed. Oh my God, that was just like a Herculean effort. It's such a my taxes are always so complicated because I have more Schedule C's, I think, than anybody. But basically, there was no way in hell I was going to have it done in time in April when I was down in the Carolinas. So I filed for an extension, and that would have given me till October. So like sometime in September, something reminded me of that, and I was like, okay, I can get this done and feel like I'm getting my life back on track because I can finally get something filed on time. So I was like, okay, well, it's technically late, but on time for the extension. And I had to have it in by, I think, like October 15th or something. So I spent so many hours getting my taxes ready and everything together that I needed. And then I got sick in October, and I was like so sick, like I had a fever. I was practically bedridden for 2 weeks. And So I missed the deadline. But then I got this notice and it said, well, if you don't file by the end of October, then TurboTax is no longer going to offer like the online service and e-filing, and then you're going to have to do everything like by hand and print all the forms and mail them to the IRS. And I was like, oh my God, that sounds like even more of a nightmare. So I'm like, okay, I gotta get unsick, and then I've got to spend the rest of my time getting this done. And I did. Oh my God, I did. So I owe $2,300 to the IRS. I owe $0 to Ohio. I told you guys that'd be the case. They have a lot of small business deductions, so it just was even, just $0. And I owe $136 to Athens City Schools, because in Ohio we have school district tax. So technically, I also have to file a City of Athens income tax return, which I didn't file that form. That's a whole other thing. Let me just get the federal paid off and I'll figure out the rest of it. But the good news is I got it done under the deadline and I'm heading in the right direction of getting all that paid off. But okay, so all of that explained. Here's where I got screwed over. I've had 1099 income before, but it was like always combined with W-2 income or something like that. But for years, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24 now, I've been almost exclusively self-employed, which means that like whatever I'm gonna owe for self-employment tax is gonna be like way higher than normal, or the previous years. Well, here's where I screwed up, because since I haven't been filing my taxes, and I haven't filed since my 2020 taxes, and then I skipped over and I filed my 2023 so they'd be in on time. I wasn't realizing, because I wasn't seeing the big picture, I wasn't realizing that I was still going to owe that much in self-employment tax, because I was thinking, I have so many freaking deductions, like I'm not going to owe anything. And that is the case. Like, I couldn't even take the home office deduction, which I do technically have a home office, but I wasn't even allowed to take the home office deduction because my income was actually negative for 2023. Yeah, I literally thought, because like it wasn't by very much, it was by less than $100, but after my deductions, not including the one I wasn't allowed to take because it was already negative, my income was actually negative for 2023. So you'd think like, well, you don't owe any taxes then, but you still owe that self-employment tax. My problem, and this is a huge shift that I need to make, and I'm in the process of understanding this, but me being poor and frugal, I'm always thinking like, how can I maximize my profit? How can I make as much money out of what little I have? And that's not going to work with taxes, because then you owe money on it. So like, for example, you pay taxes, self-employment taxes, off the profit of the business. So I accidentally made profit. I mean, even though I had deductions and my income was negative, I still made profit in each individual business. It's just that like with all the deductions I had, it equaled out being negative overall. But like TaskRabbit was profitable. YouTube somehow, barely, I think it was like less than $100 was profitable. Things like that. And so I got taxed at the self-employment rate of 15.3% on all of those. And that's where that $2,300 came from. So if So here's what I need to do. All right, and this is what I'm going to do from now on. Basically, I was trying to just make as much money as possible and use it as responsibly as possible, and that's I can't. I got to start spending money basically, because with with these businesses I'm operating, if I don't spend the money, it shows as profit, which generally is great because then that's money that you can keep and use. Except you don't get to keep it. You either reinvest in the business and deduct it as a business expense, or the government takes it as taxes. So the only way for you to keep it is to actually spend the money, and then, yeah. So basically, and I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. Okay. So because I'm still tight on money, I can't do this to the extent that I really need to. But I'm gonna cut down on the expenses, or on the self-employment tax that I'm gonna owe in future years. For example, on Black Friday, I'm gonna buy a Loom Cube, which I already my thing here, my setup that I use for YouTube is from Loom Cube, and it's like a tripod with a ring light, but I'm gonna buy one for the computer because I do a lot of Zoom calls for my fraternity job, and it's a 1099 job that doesn't have many deductions, so I'm gonna be completely screwed on self-employment tax. So I need to start putting stuff in to reinvest in the business. Now the cool thing is, I can use that for other Zoom calls too. I don't have to just use it. I mean, okay, technically, technically, if you don't use it 100% for business purposes, you can only deduct the amount that you use for business purposes. But like realistically, nobody does that. Like if somebody buys a Loom Cube Lite, they're not going to just use it for business. They're going to use it for their personal Zoom calls too. And then I'm hoping next year that I will be able to buy, this is the plan, I am going to buy a brand new MacBook Pro. The one I want is about $6,000, and the reason it's so much is I'm getting the most maxed out one you can possibly get with like all the best drives and the most memory and everything, because you guys know I keep my stuff forever. So like the laptop I have here is 12 years old. So I always buy whatever is the absolute best and then keep it forever. But what I'm gonna do basically is I will buy like a $6,000 laptop next year to use for work, deduct it, and then that cuts that profit on the business so that I hopefully pay no or at least less taxes. But then I have a new laptop that I can use. So that's what I'm going to have to do in the future to stop paying taxes. And I guess in the meantime, you know, somewhat better my quality of life. It's just as somebody who's been poor for so long, it's so hard to wrap my mind around actually spending money. I've spent my whole life trying to keep every penny I've made. And now I'm trying to teach myself, no, you actually have to buy things. Because if you don't get to keep the money. You're going to have to pay it to the government in taxes. So you're going to lose it either way. You might as well spend it in a way that you can actually get some kind of benefit out of. Yeah. So anyway, that's what I'm struggling with there. Okay. Case says self-employment here in Canada is the same as employment income. Well, unless if it is corporation status. Yeah, I mean, look, it's the U.S. You know, nothing makes sense here. It's completely and like drastically different here. Fresh Lights, why you don't want to work full time considering you are not really doing another work now? Would it not be better to get a full-time job? Well, I mean, I addressed that earlier in the stream. I mean, one is I'm still struggling a lot with my mental health, and having not a full-time job and being able to like kind of be flexible So like if I'm having a rough day, I can cut down the amount of work I do, and then when I'm having a better day, I can do more work that day. Um, yeah, I mean that is helpful in that way. That's why I said, depending on what direction I go with the fraternity job for next year, I do have hesitations about being required to work full time because I, I really don't know if I'm going to be able to handle it. It might be overwhelming for me. Um, so I'm basically my mental health struggles are a result of the whole divorce situation, and uh, well, I don't know if that's going to be permanent that I'm dealing with this. It's still there now, so you know, I don't really know what to do about that other than just allow it the time I need to deal with that. And then the other half of that is I did say I've been applying for jobs and literally have gotten no response whatsoever other than rejections. So it's not that I'm not at least considering, because I am applying for some full-time jobs. It's not that I'm not like even considering it. It's just I don't have the opportunity to. Okay, now it's really hot in here. Okay. We Were About to Die Salute You says, when I think of Indiana, I think of Lily King. Very outspoken and kind of on the border of being prejudiced. Okay, I don't know who Lily King is. Is that like Lilly Pharmaceuticals out of Indianapolis? That's one of like the biggest employers in the state. Okay, so yeah. So Case is saying that he's a dude, which again, like I'm really surprised about. Sandra says, wanna ever want to try applying to the police force or food and beverage, somewhere that's constantly recruiting? I don't work with food. I'm not comfortable with it. Um, I just don't think there's any circumstance under which I'm going to be okay with that. I get super sketched out about handling other people's food. The police, I mean, I don't like cops, so I'm not going to. I did try to apply once for a police force just because I was living in an area where there like really weren't any job opportunities and they were super heavily recruiting, and they were paying $23 an hour, which in that place was like a ludicrously high amount. And then there were like sign-on bonuses and stuff. I mean, I went as far as like looking at the application, but there were a lot of questions on there that I don't know. I felt like even I, who was known to be of good moral character, this is before all the girls' accusations and stuff, but like I was well known to be of good moral character, would not be able to even complete the application because they wanted all of these different things. And well, for one thing, they you had to have your pastor write a letter. Like it wasn't even an option to not be a Christian. Of course, this is fucking West Virginia. But like, it's not even an option to not be a Christian to be a police officer. You have to have a letter of endorsement from your pastor. That was, again, another thing where I'm just like, I can't even apply for this job. And also, I need you to understand that the West Virginia State Police Academy got in trouble because they had a picture of Hitler on the wall with quotes from Mein Kampf as a mural, and I'm gonna get demonetized. And there's a picture of the entire West Virginia State Police Force giving the Nazi salute. So this is what I'm dealing with. And you guys are going to find this out when I um, when I make that video about everything that happened with the girl, because I had to deal with all these people. Not only to mention that, but I'll also include a picture of the floor of our courthouse, which is completely covered in swastikas. Like, it's in the tile. That's the mosaic of the entire floor of the courthouse. This is where I come from. This is what I deal with. And I think as I explain this stuff in that story, when I make these videos, you guys will understand more of why I got treated so unfairly, because of how fucking weird the place is that I'm from. Anyway. But anyway, you mentioned other places that are constantly recruiting. I mean, normally if some place is constantly recruiting, when you have other places that are constantly recruiting, I mean, it's usually because they're terrible places to work, and they treat their employees like shit. I mean, that's why they can't keep people. I don't, especially with as much as I'm struggling with my mental health, like, I don't want to put myself in that situation, and I don't have a reason to. Like, I make enough to live on and pay all this extra toward paying off debt and stuff. It would be nicer if I made more, but because I have all my expenses covered, I don't want to unnecessarily cause myself more pain and upset and things, like, to deal with that. But I think I have applied at some places that are always recruiting, and those seem to be the places that you don't hear back from. So, I mean, it seems like they can't keep people because of the way they treat people, but then they're also kind of terrible at like actually hiring people. I mean, I know previously when I've lived in, say, like Columbus, like I've applied at Amazon in the warehouses. They're always hiring, and I never even got a response, like not even a rejection. So that's kind of the situation with a lot of these places where, you know, they say they're desperate for employees, but then they literally don't seem to be capable of actually hiring anybody. I don't know. Case says, I manage a hotel that's contracted with the government, and they sent people women's shelter, but they don't mind male workers since we were working in hotel before the contract. Yeah, that would definitely be different in the US. Men not only are, well, we aren't provided shelter or any of those kind of services, but also we're not allowed in or near, you're not even, I don't know if this is the same in Canada, you're not supposed to know the location of the women's shelters. Now, most people do. In fact, at the college I went to, our old fraternity house is the women's shelter now. And like, everybody knows where it is, but like, you're not supposed to. But that has changed at that one. They're still kind of weird about it, but it has changed somewhat because they did offer me services. In fact, that my domestic violence advocate was from that shelter. They offered me in-person counseling, and I haven't been in that area, so I haven't been able to do it. They won't do it online. It has to be like in person. So I assume they're saying I would have to come there to the house, to the office. So I guess they've changed things a little bit. And I do know the adjacent county just last year started serving men. They don't really have any resources to offer men, but before it was just like, oh, you're a guy, fuck off. Like, we don't care. Now they specifically say that they do help men, but I don't really know what they do because there aren't really any resources to refer men to. We who are about to die. I just lost it. We who are about to die salute you. That is a good idea for any deal like that. Try to get it right at $10, and you get the free pizza for free. Yeah, yeah, that's what I was doing. So it ended up being like, I think after all the fees and stuff, it ended up being like $17, which is not great, but because I was having issues with the car, um, I had to order out anyway. So I was just trying to make it as cheap as possible. Case says, not sure if this is going to cheer you up because it's kind of dark. There are a lot of students from the best Chinese university sleeping on the street because of unemployment. So the government sent propaganda about Russian freedom and asked those homeless, jobless students who play shooting games and think they can be soldiers to fight with Russian in the Ukraine war for minimum wage in USA, but is a lot of money in China. I think about 99% of them died as cannon fodder in the front time. The survived ones can't get money because Russia refused to pay them. So I think we are still fortunate. I can't believe you think, oh, okay, well, let me get on this war China thing before we go into the other thing. Okay, I don't know why I assumed they were doing this in Canada. I think you're saying this is in China they're doing this. The best Chinese university, because of unemployment, they're sleeping on the street. So they took these homeless students from China, sent them propaganda about Russian freedom to pay them to go fight for Russia in the war against Ukraine. I think that's what you're saying. And they're paying very little. Honestly, I don't know if you've ever looked into this. America pretty much pays their actual soldiers minimum wage or sometimes less. They can't. It's so stupid. They can't figure out why people don't want to join the military, and like there's so many reasons, but like it's like I would make more working at Walmart than joining the military. Okay. And then I feel like I heard something similar about that, but I don't think it was China. I do know that North Korea deployed troops to Russia. Yeah, I can't believe you think I'm a woman. LOL. It is very difficult to find a woman who understands men's abuse this much nowadays. Well, yeah, well, that's part of it. I thought I assumed because you were Canadian, that's why you were different. Because like I think it's an American problem I'm dealing with because people here are. I'm not gonna say on stream what they are, but they. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. But no, I just thought because you were out of the country that you thought differently. But that is, I mean, we have two other female mods, and while they haven't directly expressed that they support me and what I went through, they haven't bailed on me, so that's a good sign. And believe me, I think anybody who thinks that I don't even know what you think I'm being, but if you think that I'm not justified in feeling discriminated against because of being a man, just hold that judgment until you watch my video, because I'm pretty sure that once I put those series of videos out about what happened with the girl, you're gonna see just how bad this was. Even if you doubt that now, I'm pretty sure you're going to believe me. Case says, yeah, I think Mark is too passive to be police force. No offense. It is USA. If you apply to Canadian police, then maybe. Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, I mean, you're going to have to kill somebody as an American cop. Like, if you, let's say, like, your entire, let's say you do 30 years or whatever, or like a full career, like, almost certainly during that time, you're going to have to kill at least one person. And like that would be a struggle for me, I think. But also, like, I'm just not a terrible asshole. Like, I'm not a bad person, and I think that's a requirement to be a cop. I think that I don't know. I feel like they try to present themselves as being morally superior to the average person, but they don't behave that way. And they behave below average. And I'm sure there are some good cops out there. I'm sure somebody in the comments will say that, but I think that they are the vast minority. And I am only talking about U.S. here. I don't know about anywhere else. Another thing that I really find disgusting, and I would not participate in this, is a big part of the job as a police officer is revenue. I mean, they already get like pretty much an unlimited amount of money anyway, but they always complain that they don't have enough money. And the way they get the money is pulling people over for stupid things. And yeah, sometimes they pull them over and they find out they have a warrant, or they find out, they like try to run from them, or they have drugs in the car or something like that, where like it turns into a thing where there's an actual crime. But most of the time they're pulling people over is just to give them tickets to increase their revenue. And because they have these quotas every month. It's not like you can just sit there and watch and be like, okay, well, I'm going to pull this person over because they're speeding. Like, you have a required number of tickets that you have to give out every month or whatever. And so, like, they're literally trying to find ways to get money out of you, basically. So that it's really predatory. And no, I wouldn't do that. Now, what I would do if I was a cop, because I really hate this, I would pull over every single person that doesn't use the turn signal and give them a ticket, because I hate that. But, yeah. Let's see. Lily King, oh wait, this is We Who Are About to Die Salute You. It says, Lily King is an Olympian who stereotyped a Russian swimmer for enhancement drugs to win the race. Okay, I still don't know. Okay, so it's not Lilly Pharmaceuticals, it's an Olympian. Was this like this Olympics? I haven't heard about this. Case says, I don't understand. When you have all these Hitler stories from the cops and courts, start spilling them. I mean, I will. Like I told you guys in the last stream, I will be revealing the actual identity and posting a picture of him, a very important and relevant picture of the judge, the one that screwed all this up in the first place, because he did get admonished officially by the West Virginia, what is that called? Judicial Investigation Commission. So because that's now public, that's part of an admonishment, is that it is public, I can reveal his identity. Because basically, basically, I'm gonna make up fake names for just about everybody that's in the video, and I'm not gonna. I mean, I'm gonna tell you guys it's a fake name, but you know, I was gonna like make everybody anonymous as much as possible, but like because he got exposed publicly and the Supreme Court of West Virginia determined that that was appropriate and necessary, it's now public information and I'm gonna put it out there. Um, but I will do that as I'm able to tell that story. Um, Yeah, I also, our local sheriff's department, the one that, again, I had problems with, because of course I did, because everyone down there hates me. But I, I found a picture of them that I'm also going to include in the video, and it's just like one of the sheriff's deputies sitting in his cruiser flipping off the camera. And yeah, this is just the bullshit that I deal with, and the way that people are there. These are the people who think they're the good guys. Um, but the whole Hitler salute thing, you can Google that. Just put West Virginia State Police Academy Hitler and it'll come up. You'll see what I'm talking about. Case says, yeah, they are doing it in China and North Korea. Basically a bait and switch from Russia to China. I'm talking about the students. Case says, yep, it's also population control for China and North Korea, getting rid of homeless people. We Who Are About to Die Salute says, military gives you good cost of living pension, though, I heard. Well, I mean, you might get a pension after you retire, but when they hire you in, you're destitute. And that's the hardest part, too, right? Like, you got to do boot camp, which obviously is hard. Then you're like the lowest of the low. You don't really have any like privileges. So it's like during your hardest period of time in the military, you're making like barely enough money to survive. I mean, not that I would have joined the military anyway, but had I gotten that far in the process and found out how much they paid, I wouldn't have done it because of that. We Were About to Die Salute, who says men are being discriminated against, community laws. Ings showing? I don't know what you mean by that, but I mean, definitely, yeah. I know that I've faced discrimination through all this. Like, I'm the man, so I have to be guilty, right? We Who Are About to Die Salute You says, or at talking to Case, the U.S. is still behind. People are prejudiced in some areas, and this needs to change. I would really say for the U.S. that people are prejudiced in all areas, because even like the most left-leaning places that I've been to in the U.S., even if like the vast majority of the population of that area is like very non-prejudiced, there's still prejudice. Like, yeah, that, like here, I live in the only county in Indiana that voted blue during the election this month. It seemed, God, it seems like months ago, but yeah, it was just this month. The only county in Indiana that was blue, and I think this place is pretty backward and pretty red, but it's just blue relative to, I guess, the way the rest of Indiana is. I don't know. I feel like here and then in Athens, which is another college town, Athens, Ohio, is very, very left leaning, but you know, we still have Nazis that march on the streets. So it happens. I don't, in the US at least, I don't think that it's something that you can ever entirely get away from. Kabir, I'm not sure how to pronounce that. What is your channel about? I mean, it's really just about me. It's just my channel. I started making videos talking about student loan debt, got into just kind of following along my journey of paying off debt and student loans. And here and there made videos about other things going on in my life. For the last couple of years, I haven't been able to make too many financial videos, and it's pretty much just been about whatever's been going on in my life. I do these monthly live streams, just really to keep up with people, especially if I haven't been posting videos during the month. This is the one time I can do a Q&A and also just update everybody on everything that's going on. And that way I'm not going like months and months without you hearing anything from me. Case says, if USA is totally going to war and there is a conscription, I don't think it will do well now that we have Gen Z and younger people. Oh, you mean the country, like the war won't go well? No, I don't think so. I think like I don't think there's anything wrong with them as people, but I think based on how Gen Z is doing and like standing up to their employers and stuff, I absolutely think that most are either just going to leave the country to avoid it, or they'll desert once they get sent wherever they are. And I mean, good for them. I don't have any problem with it. I'm probably too old to get drafted. I'm 39, so by the time we get into World War III, I'll be 40. So I'm not going to say it hasn't happened, because it did happen in the Civil War. My fourth great grandfather did join the army when he was 46, but I think it would be pretty rare that they would want somebody as old as me. We were about to die salute you and talking to Case. This is how prejudiced the U.S. is in some areas. There was one article that stated prejudiced people were taking what they learned in the military to take out politicians, sleeper cells. Well, there were those ones that tried to kidnap the governor of Michigan. So all these prejudiced areas, they are poor, low opportunity, they get into the military and come out, and then they use what they learned to disturb politics. Yeah, January 6th. Yeah, I see that, because I mean, the military does disproportionately prey upon like disadvantaged areas, and then they get mentally messed up in the military, and then they come back, and yeah, they've learned all that stuff. And then the people that are in the militaries tend to be conservative anyway, so yeah, they're the ones that are gonna start militias and things like that. We were about to die salute you. Yeah, they look at beginning to late 20s. They do not want you after. I mean, I figured, but like in previous times that there's been a draft, because they did it in Vietnam, they did it in Korea, and I think there was a draft in World War II, but I'm not sure, because both of my grandfathers were in World War II, but they both volunteered. But yeah, like they start out younger, but as the war progresses and they run out of people, they do like up that number. I'm almost certain that in the Civil War, somebody will have to look this up, I think they did go pretty high with the ages. But I don't remember what the top cutoff was. The thing was, during the Civil War, though, if you had money, you could hire somebody to go in your place. We were about to salute you for military. Kabir says big fan. Thank you. How do you have two grandfathers? Well, I have my mom's dad and my dad's dad. So my dad's dad, he was in the Navy, I think he joined in the middle of the war because I can't remember what year he graduated high school, but I think he was still in high school at the start of the war. Now, my mom's dad, he was born in 1925. So when the war broke out, he was, what, 16? Seven? I remember he lied about his age. He might have been just shy of 18, but he lied about his age, and he joined, and he went directly. They had like no training. They went to England for a week, and then they sent them to Belgium for the Battle of the Bulge. So that's why his unit was called the Battle Babies, because they had like no training at all. And I think that was in 43. Does anybody know? I think 1940, yeah, 1943 was the Battle of the Bulge. Maybe it was 44. Whatever year that was the year that he signed up. And so he was, I think, just short of 18. And then, yeah, but he was in the army. Of course, he didn't actually really fight. He went there and immediately got captured on like the first day, so he was in a prison camp the whole time. But I mean, it definitely sucked walking from like Belgium to southeast Germany, because they had to march all the way to the camp. We were about to die, salute you. Yeah, Switzerland is for life. You have to serve no matter age. Yeah, that's so weird because, like, well, I mean, Switzerland is neutral and everything, but also, yeah, I mean, I've never liked that about certain places where you have, like, the mandatory service. I mean, I'm against military service, but my parents also were. So even if I had chosen to join, like my parents would have heavily discouraged it. Case says, instead of giving Gen Z AR-15, the government is going to let them use Xbox controller to guide drones and make the software look like Fortnite or something. Hey, I mean, that's basically the plot of Ender's Game, right? Spoiler alert, I mean, it's an old movie, but if you haven't seen it, it's a kid, I'm probably high school age, and he thinks that he's playing like a simulation, basically a video game, but it's actual warfare. And they do that to trick him into like going after this alien thing. We were about to die, Sligu says to Case, I could see that. I wish wars were settled on chess or video games, no lives taken. Yeah, you know the stupid thing about wars is it doesn't actually solve anything. You know, I mean, the biggest example I can think of is the U.S. Civil War. Like, was it, you know, it didn't solve the actual issue. Like, the war was over, okay, well, yeah, I mean, it was, okay, like, I'm from the South, okay, bear with me. It was about states' rights, and yes, it was mostly about the states' rights to own slaves, but the actual issue was not solved by the North winning. Like, the South still believes that they should have that right. They still believe in the strong government of independent states with a weak federal government and not a federal government that mandates things to the states. They believe that they can separate because they believe that they are independent countries, not a part of a country that is indivisible. Like, the war did not settle those issues. Those are the issues that came to the war, like that created the war. And the war didn't settle that. And if it hadn't been for Lincoln, who, I mean, not really a fan, but Lincoln did a lot of really shady backroom dealing to get the 13th Amendment passed. If he had not done that, the war wouldn't even have solved slavery. course, there's the argument that it really didn't solve slavery, that it expanded it, which again, from the South, this is the argument down there, that the Civil War actually expanded slavery rather than ending it. And that's because there's that loophole in the 13th Amendment, that if you're adjudicated or whatever the terminology is, that they're allowed to make you a slave, which that is how the whole prison industrial complex started, because now it's not just black people, now it's everyone. And so that's the argument, that the 13th Amendment didn't end slavery, it actually expanded it. And the argument is there's more people in the prison industrial complex today than there were ever slaves in the South. And again, the argument that it expanded it. Now, if you guys didn't know, this month, California actually had on their ballot an issue to end that, to remove the loophole, and it failed. So California voted for slavery in 2024. I mean, I'm not surprised by that. I should be. But with everything else going on, no, I'm not surprised by that at all. Let's see. And then Kabir says, why don't you stream some games on YouTube? I don't think it would really fit my channel. I mean, I could definitely start like a second channel and do that. I don't play games all that much. I don't have any systems or anything. I do play PUBG Mobile, which I know like most people don't play anymore. I play maybe a couple of games a day, just something to do. It's more of like a relaxing thing for me, or I'll do it to take a break between things I'm doing for my job. And like, I like it, but I'm not really, I don't know, I'm not like really a gamer. Maybe I could figure out how to do, because I play that on my phone. Maybe I could figure out how to do Twitch from my phone, and maybe that way I could keep it separate from YouTube. I don't know. Let me know in the comments. You don't have, well, you know, if you're watching this back, let me know in the comments. If I set up a Twitch just to randomly, they wouldn't even be scheduled, but just to, like, to randomly play PUBG Mobile, if you guys would be interested in watching that. I'll be right back. Get a little bit more to drink here, but all right. We were about to die salute. Says Twitch, Discord, sure. I don't know if I can do Discord. I'm on Discord for one thing. It was like a YouTube thing. It's a bunch of like YouTube creators, and I'm in there with them. I really don't like the way it's set up. So I know so many YouTubers have Discords. I don't think I'm ever going to do that. Weird sound. I don't think I'm ever going to do Discord. I might do Twitch. I mean, you know, because I feel like some people would find me over there that like would not be on YouTube. And of course, you guys could go over and find me. I don't know, maybe I'll do that. I'll see if it's even a possibility. I don't know that I'd necessarily like really build a channel over there like I'm building a channel on YouTube. It would kind of literally just be like, hey, I want to take a break from work. I'm going to play around the PUBG. Turn it on. Maybe you guys see I'm on there. I don't know. Maybe you get a notification. Or I don't know if you can watch it back later. I don't know if that's how Twitch works, but yeah, yeah, sure. I'll look into that. I don't know if you can stream from Twitch mobile. I don't know. Well, I'll figure that out. I'll look into it. Case says, start doing videos on Hinge or other dating app profile and see how ridiculous they are in the chat. If I have like a really bad date story or something, I might do a story time about it. The biggest problem with any of those, like I'm on Hinge and Tinder and Bumble. The problem is I don't hardly have anybody to even swipe on. Like there's hardly any profiles around here. And I even have my radius set as 30 miles because that gets like the southern edge of Indianapolis. And since there's, like a population base there, that gives me usually a few people to swipe on. But man, there's not much to swipe on in the first place to even get a match. So I don't hardly get any matches. And the thing is, I'm also super selective, so let's be honest, I swipe left most of the time. And then even with people I do match with, when we talk, I end up really most of the time not hitting it off with them. So other than that date that I went on, like when I first got here, like the first day I was here, I've not been on any dates like all semester. Not talking to anybody, so yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like I'm 39, right? Like, so I'm kind of looking for something serious, but it has to be with the right person, and that's the struggle right now. Don't have to be actual dates. You can just look at profiles and make commentary. I don't think I could do that without being mean, and I don't want to be mean. I feel like, because I mean, if you think about like what those are, you're just judging somebody based on their appearance, and you're allowed to do that when it comes to dating. It's completely acceptable to need to be attracted to somebody to date them, but I feel like if I was making commentary about it, it would definitely come off as, well, at a minimum rude. Especially because I just said, like, I left swipe on almost everybody. Greg says, I get it. I was engaged in 2017, and then the relationship ended soon after. I was very depressed as a result. I mean, I'm depressed. Like, I'm not hiding that at all. I've had a lot of really bad stuff happen to me the last 3 years or so. And so I think anybody would be depressed because of that. The stuff that happened after made it so much worse, though. Then that's like why it's beyond like the normal level of depression and why it's lasting so long. I think there are certain things that can happen to you in life where after that's happened, you're either never going to be okay again, or if you are, it's going to take a very long time, like years and years. And I think that's where I'm at. There's not a lot I can do other than wait and just let there be time. I'm trying in the meantime, though, to fix the other aspects of my life, because I mean, I hit like rock bottom. Like I was homeless. I was behind on everything. My roommate tried to kill me. Like all of this stuff happened as a result of this girl, and while I can't control what she did to me and the aftermath of that, I'm trying to fix the other aspects of my life that she broke so I can, like, kind of, other than this one thing, get my life back together. And that's where I'm working on now. Because then that way, even if I'm not, like, totally happy, I have a lot of good things going for me, and I, like, sort of have my shit together. That's what I'm going for. It's just really hard to do that. It's taken me a really long time. So, I mean, it took years for her to break me down, and it's gonna take a lot longer to get myself back to where I should be. It's a lot easier to ruin something than it is to build something. So it's gonna take longer that way. But yeah, so there's that. Now, before I forget, there are two things that I told you guys that I wanted to talk about. One was my shirt, and then the second was the car. I'm gonna try to talk about the shirt and hope I don't forget the car. So this is a new shirt. It's here, I'll show you guys. So it's just a Henley, just a regular Henley. It is from J. Crew Factory, so it's like the cheap version of J. Crew. And I got it on sale too. But well, actually the belt is new too. So I have my old Hollister belt. That's what HCO is. I have my old Hollister belt over here that I bought when I worked at Hollister. It was one of the ones I needed for my model uniform. And anyway, when I was in the Carolinas, it literally fell apart. Like, it's so old. I've worn it every day for like 12 years. It literally disintegrated. I loved that belt. And of course, because it's old, I can't find one like it. So I ended up finding this belt, which was made at the same time. It is one of the variations on the style I had before, but it was made like whenever they launched the belt I originally had, that same day they launched this one. The main difference is that this one has HCO for Hollister Co. Stitched on it, but that's the only difference. So I essentially replaced my belt that fell apart with this one. Hopefully this one will last me another 12 years, and I would think by the time I'm 51, maybe I'm not going to be wearing Hollister anymore. So I can maybe buy an adult belt by that point. So anyway, the reason I bought that belt, and I got it off Poshmark. So, you know, I am sometimes buying used stuff to save money. But it's also nice if you're looking for a very specific old vintage item, sometimes you can find it on there. Now, with that said, me being homeless especially, I just ruined most of my clothes, really. I don't know if it was like a cleanliness thing or a sweating all the time thing from being in the car, and really the only time that you can really take your clothes off is when you're getting into the shower at the gym, and you're clothed at every other point. I didn't start off with a lot of clothes to begin with because I was poor, and somehow in that like more than year of being homeless, I pretty much ruined all of my clothes. Now, I have a perennial problem. That might not be the right word, but I have this problem where I rub holes in the crotch of my pants. So it's a couple times a year I have to buy new jeans. So I did buy jeans. I bought medium. That's, well, you can't see them, but the ones I have on now, they're these medium wash jeans from Hollister. They were on sale for $29. They were out of the dark wash, and by the time they got them back in, they'd raised it back up to the regular price. So I'm gonna wait till Black Friday, and I'm gonna get a dark pair as well. You know, eventually I'll have enough money that I can spend to have a few pairs in rotation. And then as far as shirts, really the shirts were the ones that were showing the most wear. Whether they were like stained, bleached out, faded, discolored. A lot of them had holes in them. and I'm trying to not look homeless. So I'm really trying to get I'm going to keep saying this phrase because I don't know how to say it better, but I'm just trying to get my shit back together. Um, and I'm not necessarily going to get rid of my older shirts. I'll wear them sometimes around the house. But I needed to get some more. So I ended up ordering this, which is just a regular Henley. Um, it's navy blue. I don't know if you can tell the color on the camera. But I've got this. I also bought a blue and white striped t-shirt. It's just alternating blue and white stripes. Um, I thought that was something a little different other than just like a regular color. And then just one plain gray t-shirt v-neck. Um, it's over in the laundry right now because I've already worn it. But those are the ones that I got. And now I have fairly new shoes. I've got enough socks. I've got pants with a crotch. Oh, and I got new underwear. Yeah, those were crotchless too. But I've I've replaced 3 pairs of them. So I now have 3 pairs that are basically brand new. And over time, as I get paid, I'm gonna restock so that I have like enough. I would say like maybe 9 pairs because they come in 3 packs. I would say like 9 pairs would be ideal. That way I can just do laundry once a week. But anyway, this is probably like way TMI, but I'm just trying to get my life back together. Now, as far as tops, I need to get some more t-shirts. Just some plain t-shirts, and I think I've staked out where I'm going to get those from, but I'm not going to be able to buy them in December. It's going to have to be January that I'll have the money to do that. And then right now, it's gotten cold. It's Indiana. It's winter. It's also kind of cold in this house. This room alternates between freezing and burning up, but the other room that connects here, my office, it's just always freezing in there. So I'm gonna buy some warm clothes, and I've got them staked out. So I'm waiting till Black Friday, which is not, I mean, it's like, what, 2 days from now? I get paid tomorrow. So when I have that money, I'm gonna buy, I have a flannel picked out on LL Bean. It's on sale, don't worry. It's already on sale. It'll be on a better sale on Black Friday. I would never pay full price for this stuff, but I'm gonna get that one flannel, and then on, what's the other one? Eddie Bauer. On Eddie Bauer's website, they have several things. I'm gonna get a crew neck sweatshirt that I picked out, a gray one. And then I really wanted to get a hoodie and a zip-up hoodie, but they're kind of expensive, and they're like half price right now because of the sale, but I still don't think I can justify getting both of them. So I think I'm gonna get the zip-up hoodie because I can wear that around the house as like a jacket. But I'm gonna do that. And then hopefully also in January, I know it'll be halfway through winter, but I think I'm gonna buy the first winter coat, actual winter coat I've ever had in my life. You guys know I'm always freezing. I have, actually I'm gonna show you here. This is my current winter coat. You can see it's kind of old. My mom bought this for me back in 2013. It's almost like the length of a parka, which is a new term I was not previously white enough to understand, but I picked that up recently. And this, I guess I'm not showing it very well, but basically this thing fits like a sleeping bag over you. And it's the warmest coat I have, but it's not warm enough, not for Indiana. So I think I've just given up that I'm gonna have to live somewhere cold, because that seems to be the only places with job opportunities. So I'm gonna have to learn how to dress to live in a cold place. And anyway, on the North Face, I found a super warm jacket. It is like 300 and some dollars, but of course it'll be on sale. I'm gonna have to wait till January to get it, but I have a 10% off coupon code anyway, so I'll eventually get it. That'll get me through the winter, and then next summer I'm also I'm gonna pivot completely the other direction. I'm gonna have to buy some more clothes, but I think I'm just gonna start wearing those Nike Dry Fit Legend shirts every day, because I've just gotten to the point where I can't deal. Well, it's not so much the heat. The last 3 years, for some reason, I just sweat so much during the summer. It sounds gross, but pants are fine. I even wear jeans most of the year because I can't find any of my shorts. I don't know where they are. But I should probably get shorts for the summer. But I need like lighter shirts. Like cotton is not going to work for me anymore. This is fine. This is cotton. It's fine because it's winter. But spring, summer, and most of fall, I'm going to have to start wearing those like, I don't know what it's called, but like Under Armour type material shirts. So I have like one that's in my gym bag. It's a Nike Legend tee, and I like it. It fits well. I look good in it. So yeah, and I've lost about 20 pounds since I've been here in Indiana. Got about 20 pounds left to lose to get me to where I'm supposed to be. But you know, I already look good in it. So when I lose the weight, I'll still look good. So anyway, I say all that to say that I'm spending a lot of money. A lot of it's paying off debt, but a lot of it is also trying to get myself to where I have a respectable amount of clothes that I can wear that are in decent condition so I can appear presentable. Yeah, so I'm working on that. And the car. Okay, so this is the other thing that I said I wanted to talk about. Let me pour myself a drink here. I'll tell you about that. You guys know my car has been very reliable. I've had it since 2017, and it's been, honestly, like, I can't complain. Like, I've had so few problems with it. But ever since I got out here to Indiana, I've had nothing but problems. And there's been a whole string of things, but the battery died. So right before the live stream last month, I had the battery replaced. So that was over $200. Plus I did it through AAA, so it was $104 on top of that to get the membership for AAA. Then, yeah. So then, one day, it just wouldn't start. Now, this is after I replaced the battery. And I'm like, what the hell? It acted like it wasn't getting enough gas. Have you guys ever driven like an old car that had a carburetor? You know, sometimes like it wouldn't start correctly and you'd have to give it more gas as you're turning the key. And then a lot of times you give it too much and it floods the carburetor. That's what it seemed like. It seemed like it wasn't getting enough gas. So I was like, what the hell? So after trying to start it a few times and it wouldn't start, I was looking into like what would do that. Well, one of the things that came up that could do that is the ECM, the electronic control module, but that the reason that would do that is because of the coolant temperature sensor. Now, I've been getting a P0117 code for a long time. I knew that sensor was going out. But I didn't think it'd keep the car from starting. Like, I just thought it wouldn't read the temperature correctly. So anyway, it's a huge odyssey. It's way too many twists and turns. Nobody cares all this much, but I ended up spending a lot of money this month replacing the coolant temperature sensor. I did it myself. I had to buy a bunch of tools to do it and the sensor, but I did it. And ever since I did it, well, it's weird because I got it on there, and then the car still wouldn't start, and I'm like, fuck. So, and then I was like trying to figure it out. So I ended up going to Walmart. Like, this is when I had the rental car. I went to Walmart. I got a code reader, and I ran all the codes, and it didn't clear the code for the temperature sensor. So I manually, like with the scanner, cleared the codes, and after I cleared the codes, it starts fine. So I don't really know what was wrong with it. Now here's the weird thing. It doesn't overheat anymore. I've tried to make it overheat. Like, I've driven it for like a half hour straight. I've put, like, I've just let it idle in the parking lot for a really long time. Things that would make it really hot. And it doesn't overheat. But here's what I don't know. Is it actually not overheating? Or is something now wrong with the sensor that I put in? So it's just not reading that it's overheating. That I don't know. There is something still wrong with it, even if the sensor is fixed, because the heat doesn't work in the car. And I cannot figure out why the heat doesn't work. Also, the defrost works. It blows air, it just doesn't get hot. Like, it doesn't get warm. So I don't know what's going on with it. But, so either it is overheating and it just no longer is sending me the dash indications that it is, or it fixed the temperature issue, but there's still something going on that the heat doesn't work. And also sometimes, occasionally, it doesn't want to start right away. Most of the time it does now. But it started a thing where I have to turn the key and, like, even just for a couple seconds, let the power be on before I try to turn it over, because sometimes if I don't do that, it won't start right away. And it also now, which it wasn't doing before I replaced the sensor, when I come to a stop at like a stoplight, it kind of shudders or hesitates. It doesn't stall, but it acts like it's going to. And it does this every time I stop. So I don't know what the hell's going on. I mean, it seems like once I fix one thing, it immediately starts something else. And I think I honestly, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I just take it to go to the grocery store. I don't trust it to even drive to the other side of the town. But I would like to get it sorted out what's going on. And I would love to have heat to drive to the grocery store. But I don't think I'm going to be able to figure that one out on my own. Last time I had the dealership work on the dash to try to figure out why the air conditioner wasn't working, which, you know, is the same set of controls. It was $2,300. So we're not doing that. But yeah, so that's what's going on with the car. Might be fixed, might be worse. Not sure. But yeah. So that's going on. And I do have one thing that I'm going to try to do beyond sleeping in a bed like a human. I have decided that I am going to buy myself a Roku. Now, I don't normally spend money on myself, but I have a super old TV. I don't know how old it is. My mom bought it for my grandpa when he was in a nursing home, and he died in 2015. So it's at least 9 years old. I don't know how long it was in the nursing home. That's the TV that I have, and it was never a smart TV, but I have what's essentially a Blu-ray player, but if you hook it up to the TV, it kind of turns it into a smart TV because there's like a dedicated Netflix button, and you can get on YouTube that way. But those are it. Well, Tubi is on there, and YouTube, and Netflix, but that's it. So I can't do HBO Max. I can't do like Hulu or Disney Plus or any of the other ones. There's no option for that on there. I did back in August. I signed up for Netflix for the first time since 2018, I think. 2017. Anyway, I have the cheap version that has ads. It's like $6 a month. But I'm bored. I think I've watched everything I want on Netflix. So I think I was thinking like, oh, well, I'll cancel that and I'll get Hulu. And then I'll watch everything on there and I'll cancel that and get something else. It's kind of weird for me because I've never been in a place before where I was able to just like be able to watch shows. But anyway, I also have HBO Max because it comes free with my phone plan. But my computer is now so old that I can't watch it on the computer anymore. I can watch it on my phone, but then that means I can't get anything else done. Because it's usually like TV playing in the background and then me doing something on my phone, like working. And so that's not working now. So basically I'm going to buy myself a Roku. I think I have to have the stick because the TV is so old. It does have the USB port, but I think that's the only one that will work on there. So anyway, they're on sale right now at Walmart for $17. They might be even cheaper on Black Friday. So I'm going to look into that. And then that'll give me access. I mean, I know you still have to pay for the service, but like it'll give me access to all of the streaming services. So I can watch HBO Max on my TV, which I can't currently, since I can't do it on my computer anymore. And then I can turn Netflix off and I can switch to Hulu. And anyway, it'll just be a little upgrade of quality of living because I have never invested at all in my quality of living, like at all. And it's, again, part of that mindset of never spending any money ever. And I'm trying to still not spend money, but at the same time, I am trying to make my life a little bit better. Speaking of that, we went over the goals, right? The 2 goals. I'm not even gonna count it as a goal, but I'm gonna complete the whole bed setup thing in here. That'll be done by next month. But the other thing is, and this is gonna be my only goal, only official goal, to make sure that I have done by the live stream next month, I have to buy a new toothbrush. My toothbrush has mold all over it, like black mold. I mean, thankfully it's on like the lower, like the handle half. But yeah, I'm just kind of becoming conscious that like, come on, dude, get your shit together. Like, you can't have a moldy toothbrush. Like, go buy a new toothbrush. So that's kind of where I'm at with myself right now. I don't know why it's taken me so long to make that register of like, hey, go spend $3 and get a toothbrush. But that'll be my lifestyle improvement. So I'll have a Roku, a bed, and a non-moldy toothbrush for 20, well, yeah, for my December goals. So anyway, a lot of you are still on here, but there aren't any more comments. Haven't gotten one for quite a while. I think that's mostly what I had to say. I am pretty tired. I I wanted to do this a little bit early this month because I stay up pretty late at night generally, and then I sleep in pretty late during the day. It's mostly just because usually one day a week the guys will have a party, which isn't really an issue, but generally they'll have a party and they'll be up pretty late, and then it takes me maybe like an hour or so to wind down after that, and then I can go to sleep. But because it happens like once a week, that like changes my sleep schedule, and so I end up for the whole week basically staying up late. Um, but I know we normally do the streams at 3. I did it at 1:30 today because I'm hoping. I know a lot of people haven't been able to come to the streams because they're too late. Um, and Jennifer, especially one of my mods, she is in a different time zone, so it's late at night for her. So I wanted to do it earlier to try to get her to be able to be here. And I think that we're also going to be able to do 1:30 for next month's stream. Um, and the reason for it is the guys are on Thanksgiving break right now. And that means that I wasn't kept up super late last night. I'm just kind of tired now because I'm still on that sleep schedule. But I did get about 6 hours of sleep. Now, next month, the guys will have left. I think the last guy is moving out of the house around the 22nd, somewhere around there. And that means that they won't have a party Saturday night, which means that on Sunday, our stream will be, yeah, it'll be able to be a little bit earlier in the day. I don't know yet which Sunday it's going to be. I have to look at the calendar, and maybe I'll post a, what are those called? Polls. Maybe I'll post a poll in the community tab of like which of the 2 Sundays we want to have the stream. Because I think Christmas makes it a little weird as far as when to have that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Christmas break because I get to go home. It's not so much that I'm wanting to go home, it's more so that I'm wanting to get my hair cut. That's like the biggest thing. I'm trying to go to my dentist, get my teeth cleaned, and I got to do x-rays too. Get my eye exam so I can order new contacts, get my hair cut, and then run down. I gotta do a thing at my mom's storage unit. It's I'll tell you guys more about that when we get there, but I gotta move something for her. But yeah, and Case says do a weekly vlog of what you do in a day. I feel like that would be the most boring vlog ever. I really hate making vlogs. I know I told you guys this before. I really do not like them. I really don't do anything here. I mean, I spend a lot of time on personal development. I have these little spurts of like replying to an email or somebody knocks on my door to get a key or something like that, but like I generally don't do all that much work. I have 70 on-call hours a week, and then I work up to 20 on top of that. I mean, I can tell you this week is going to be a little light because they're on Thanksgiving break for the whole week. I'm going to get caught up with some emails. I'm working on a parking lot plan with the house director next door. We're issuing parking permits and doing some stuff like that we got to figure out. But that's pretty much it. Get caught up. And then for the rest of the semester, not really anything. We got our new executive chef who started this past Monday. So the kitchen is getting put back in shape. And that's pretty much it. I mean, it's just really boring. It'd be like what I do in the day. I I sit in my room at some point during the day. I go check and see if the mail came, and then I sort through that. Uh, and I go walk through the house and make sure none of the fire detectors are covered. Uh, and then I reply to some emails. It's not fun. No, Casey, you don't want to see those. They wouldn't be good. I mean, it's again, I'm trying to avoid anything being negative, but like, it's not that the food is terrible. It's not usually. It's just that it's like industrial stuff, like very low grade, like commercial kitchen grade food. It's all like really processed and mostly pre-prepared, and they just warm it up kind of thing. Um, so the reviews would all be like pretty bad, and I don't want to bring that negativity. Um, Now I am planning, depending on how everything ends up here at the end of the year, I am planning on filming a video once the guys move out in mid-May. I was gonna film it at the beginning of the year, and with everything going on, I just didn't have time. But I do want to do a house tour, so I can show you guys my place. So it's kind of like my apartment tour, but it's also gonna be like the whole house tour, so you guys can see the inside of the fraternity house. And I guess as I go, I can talk about the different people, like, because I have a maintenance staff, a kitchen staff, I have an undergraduate that works for me, who's like sort of chapter leadership staff. Now we've got our parking attendant. So anyway, like, it's weird because I'm technically a manager, but I don't feel like that at all. I'm just a dude that lives in the house, basically. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. I am hoping that we can work out what day to have this for December. I'm hoping some more people will be able to be here. But I'm wondering if maybe this is a little too early for everybody else. Like, especially like if they're church people, maybe they are still out to eat after church. And maybe that's why they weren't here. I mean, 20 is not bad for a stream, but I thought doing it earlier we'd have some more. So, I don't know. Let me know what times work best on Sundays. And to whoever mentioned doing Twitch streaming, just it'll be completely random. I'm warning you. But if I do Twitch stream, I mean, I'll let you guys know if I set that up. I'll see if it's even possible to stream PUBG Mobile from a phone onto Twitch. We'll see. I don't know. And hopefully you guys aren't offended by cussing, because that's going to happen a lot. That's going to happen a lot if you watch me playing that. So, all right. Well, that's the end of all of those, and I think that's the end of everything I had to say. So I will leave this here. I really am going to try to get a video up, but I'm not going to promise anything. I've got one in mind, but we'll see how it goes. But we'll definitely do the live stream at the end of December, and I will continue trying to get my life together, and we'll check in with those goals again next live stream. And yeah, cool. Well, I will see you guys then.